Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, I'm going to try and get through WandaVision episode 8 and 9, the last episodes. Episode 8 is a bit of a wasted opportunity. It's mostly just setting up the last episode. They really just spend pretty much all the episode. They sort of just totally drop the Agatha as being behind it all and being the villain, and just spend the whole episode exploring Wanda's memories and her life, and just explaining everything and making everything clear. And although not really clear, I mean, I'm not a huge comic person. I don't really know the backstory of the characters, and it still didn't explain a lot of things. Like they basically showed that Agatha was more manipulating her to examine her like a detective, trying to work out what her powers are, basically. And she names her the Scarlet Witch, and she establishes that her magic, her power is chaos magic, which I don't know what that is. Apparently it's a thing. So people who are familiar with the comics, this would have been just a lot of exposition they already know. And for people who aren't, it was a lot of exposition that still didn't really explain everything, at least to me. Maybe that's my fault. Maybe I'm just stupid. But I still was left wondering a lot of things. It was kind of slow. It's basically all flashbacks. It's really only, like I said, setting up the final episode. The only new big revelations really are in the mid-credit scene. I mean, the ones that have any impact. Now, they show that they rebuilt Vision. There's a white Vision that Hayward used the Hex energy to awaken him. We see her origins, like why she liked American sitcoms, that she got imported DVDs and she watched them and everything. And I mean, that's a nice little touch. But like I said, it doesn't explain enough for me. But it's like it gave itself this job that was a bit too big for one episode, but kind of stops any forward momentum really for the story. Now, jumping straight to episode 9, the final episode. Ultimately, it kind of undermines itself, where the whole series was based around her grief for losing Vision, yet she doesn't really lose him. He's being recreated, but I mean, he has the memories, but will he have the emotions? Will they get back together? Will they meet again? Blah, blah. So, I mean, there's a big fight between the two Visions, and of course it's not just physical. That's all big and spectacular, but there's also the philosophical of you know, who are they? You know, that just who is he? You know, who each of them are, like what their meanings are in this universe. So I mean, I don't want to try and explain and go into everything because it's just too much detail. I don't want to do a big long review. But we see Agatha sort of being sort of the villain of the piece, but not really, because Wanda is sort of set up as the villain again, where we see the people of Westview, or whatever the town is, basically being set free to an extent, and basically saying, just we'd rather you kill us than like keep us in this world. Because you see, basically she has the deed to the land that Vision bought, and she just creates the whole world, that whole world there, from this sort of reality she wants it to be. And you understand her grief was real, but it's sort of like I said, gets undermined in the series. You don't sort of get that ending because you sort of know there's white Vision out there. And I mean, she says goodbye to Vision, she says goodbye to the kids. The kids can only exist in that universe. She leaves. she basically, I mean, Agatha was trying to take her powers. She eventually traps Agatha and gets her powers back, and then she basically turns into the Scarlet Witch. And there's even like a nod to Magneto in his helmet, in her headpiece, and there's a lot of little things in it, but it leaves off with the uncertainty of like this apocalypse and what's going to happen, and who Vision, White Vision, what's that going to amount to? Like I said, that you don't have that sense of resolution, finality. That all this was caused over the idea that she lost him, but she hasn't. But I mean, she didn't know that. I mean, the most disappointing thing is the reveal of Ralph Boner. Basically, Agatha didn't pull the other. What's his name? His superhero character. I want to say Silver Surfer, but that's not his name. She doesn't pull the other version of him out of the other universe. She basically just turns one of the residents into him and gives him powers. And his name is Ralph Boner. It's basically like a dick joke, and it's just like, it's really underwhelming. And there was no big reveal, no big guest stars. People were expecting Doctor Strange to appear because the next film is going to be about him, so they're expecting to lead into that. That doesn't happen. So there's a lot of good things in the episode. A lot of stuff happens in this episode, but you still don't get the kind of resolution or like the big reveals that people were sort of expecting. I wasn't expecting anything, but I'm sort of hearing other people say they were. They think the boys are going to come back somehow. We don't know if she's going to use her powers. I mean, what is she now? Is she a villain? Is she going to be a ally? I mean, they used the book The Damned, and people how there are a lot of things that are pulled from the comics, and we don't know where they're going to go, and there is some sense that there wasn't enough resolution for the emotional story. Like, they put a lot of the action over heart a lot. But yeah, I wasn't hugely invested in the series from the first place, so I'm okay. But I can see a lot of fans are some fans are not happy and some are a bit confused, and others are real happy. So I don't know, I guess overall it was a success. I enjoyed it. But I mean, one thing that bothered me was the flip-flopping. At first you assume that Wanda has been sort of trapped in this sort of world, or it's sort of happened to her. Then you feel like she's the villain, and then it's revealed that Agatha is behind it all, and then you find out Agatha really was just manipulating her to try and work out how she did it all. And then the powers, they fight and blah, blah, blah. She ends up... I don't know. It's okay. I don't want to be too negative. I don't want to be negative at all, really. I enjoyed it. It was a good show. It sort of set something up really strong and sort of undermined it, but it undermined it with a lot of interesting things. But a lot of them don't have a lot of resonance with me because I'm not familiar with the characters so much. So I don't know where they're going to go, if they're going anywhere, or if they're just nods. I tried to sort of watch some other reviews, but that just made things more complicated, because there's my interpretation and there's other people's interpretations that I also listen to. I'm really not sure about a few elements. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad I found out what happened. I really just want to know what happened. I just want to see where it went. Like I said, episode 8 is really just flashbacks and sort of seeing a story. It was kind of interesting, but like I said, the story doesn't really go anywhere. It's like just preparing for the final episode. And the final episode was good, but I was expecting some different things. So, yeah. So still a lot of unanswered things, but I mean, it's going to lead into other series or be related to other series or the other movies. So, of course, it's not going to be all tied up with a bow because it's not over in that sense. So it's all okay. But it's done. I watched it. I know what happens. I got my answers. I can move on. Will I buy it on DVD? Will I watch it again? I do kind of want to watch it from the start, knowing everything. I think that might be a bit underwhelming because there's things you expect that you kind of get interested in or excited about that sort of don't really pan out, and you find out they're actually something else. I forgot to mention some of the other characters. My God, Darcy and Jimmy, they really don't get a proper ending. They don't get much time in the episode. Monica Rambeau, she actually does display her some of her powers, the phasing ability, and but which she doesn't really have a big confrontation with Detective Hayward, and there's been so much animosity between them. You expected something more. She's basically just saving the kids from him, but so like that's another thing that kind of didn't get what you're expecting, and I'm still not sure where those things are going to go. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to go. It's 10 minutes. I'm going to stop. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. If I got anything wrong, please let me know. If I've gotten the wrong idea, I'm not sure I really got, what's happening with these characters. Really, I think there's too much in the comics I don't know to really get where this is going, and I just hope wherever it does go, there's enough exposition in the films or the other series that these stories are going to follow and flow into, that I don't have to do a bunch of research and comic reading to understand, because that's too much of a burden for any normie, and they need to really balance that with the Marvel stories, and that they really can't just make them for the full-on fans, but they can't dumb them down totally. So yeah, but yep, I'm going to stop talking. Thanks, bye.